We are live now.
We're live. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Very excited for this first short lesson for the education program. Um, you're all so happy that you're all coming in live. I see you're coming live from different platforms. It's nice to see different people joining. So this is our first short lesson. This is a lesson that we will discuss Web3, and today it's for people who don't necessarily have a huge background on Web3. We will go for the basis. My name is Marlene. I'm a neuroscientist, and I'm a lifelong learner. So I'm a big believer that all of us can learn despite our background. If we have interest, we can all still learn. So let me share my screen. We'll start with today's lesson. Okay, so today's first lesson, we'll start with the basics of Web3. So where can we start? We start from history. So Web3 it's not coming by itself. It comes from a long way. And how it was born, it was when the internet was born. It's come a long way. We see the big computers at the beginning of connecting with other people through our computers and devices. And it's come a long way. And now it's evolving into being connected around the world with different people and different businesses that are creating different possibilities. So we've come a long way. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's not only Web3, it's been an evolution, Web1, Web2, and Web3. So let's go a bit on the history. I will not go very into details because it's a short lesson, so we want to just have a bit on an overview. So the beginning of the internet was on January 23 on the 50s. And it was there was different moments why the internet was brought to life. For example, there was when they were planning to go to space, they needed a way of communicating, not necessarily on the same physical space. There were in terms of the health sector, there were different needs for communicating with people when they were not in the same location. So there's different needs that brought the internet to life. There was already commerce and that needed how people would communicate between each other, different things. Officially, the internet was born on January 24th, 1982. This is just a date. It was the first computer that was able to connect to another computer that was distance apart. And from then, it's been a fast revolution. The first commercialized use was in 1991, and it's been really speeding up. We have different big companies that have been created. eBay and Amazon with the commercialization of products. Wikipedia, we've all known these brands. YouTube, Facebook was born to life on 2015, and it was really connecting different people together. So it's been quite a revolution how we've arrived from the beginning up to where we are now. So now we're in between 2020 and 2030. So how has the web evolved over time? How can we conceptualize this from what I told you, two computers communicating with each other, to what it is now and the possibilities that are opening up for us in what is Web3. So to illustrate this, I want to show you this beautiful picture. And it's I find this fascinating, and I can share this image with whoever's interested. And it's really to show you that the Web3 at the beginning, there was a centralized location in the center, and different computers would connect to this centralized location. And the decentralized location could eventually go on to another one, but it was really from point A to point B. And even there was already this communication. Web 2, this is a big revolution that happened between, it was not only with one central, there was not connection only with one central area, but it was really starting to communicate different users with one another. One of the best examples we have today is Messenger, Facebook, mail. It's really connecting you with different people through different ways, writing, voice, and really there was a big impact on community and bringing people together, sharing, a lot of sharing that was brought on Web 2. However, there's still some structures that are in place where there's limitations about how users are connecting with one another. And this is how we're now going on to Web3, which is the third side of the image on the right. And this is really to show you how the users are connecting one another, and there's not a centralized system that is in between the users. And it's really the initiation of community building started in Web 2, and Web 3 is really here to revolutionize this and really make this connection between users to become something of what it can be. We cannot go through in detail through what Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. So I will just briefly go over Web 2. So Web 2 is still, as I said, it was already sharing between two users, but there's a centralized system in between. There's centralized systems that are connecting users, for example, different platforms. So to communicate or to pay someone, to have businesses, you have to go through certain platforms. And this is why we call this more a centralized system. With these platforms or with these systems that are in between the users, they have a lot of data ownership. Because as a user, you have to you had to put a lot of your personal data and the data from where you were connecting from. So there's been a lot of controversy regarding this, because we placed our data and then it's been really it's not shared only between the users. It's been another system that has ownership and decision over our data. However, as we know, Web 2 did bring a lot of community, a lot of sharing. I'm sure a lot of us have met people in the last few years, not in real life person, but really forming parts of groups on the internet. There's different mailing and different ways to connect around the world. You can share videos, you can share audios, you can share documents. The workplace has really revolutionized through this sharing. And in the last few years, because of this, the data, there's been an evolution of how our identity it's confirmed. A lot of businesses need to know who the user is and need to have this identity confirmation. So this is something else that has already started to revolutionize on Web 2. Is really being sure that whoever is saying is participating as a user is the right user. So there's a lot of passwords, a lot of email confirmation, and so yeah, this is something that has been revolutionizing, and there's a need to put a lot of personal information on the internet. And these are just examples of big companies that are part of the Web 2: LinkedIn, Facebook, Wikipedia, YouTube, Netflix, Google, PayPal. There are so many companies that came from Web 2 and built it themselves. So moving on, Web 3. So the difference, one of the main differences between Web 2 and Web 3 is that Web 3 is a more decentralized system. So in between the users, there's not a central system that has to pass in between the communication between the users. Whether it's business or personal, the users have access to one another in a direct system. there is a more technical explanation of how this is working. And one of the short lessons will be about the blockchain and the technicalities of how it's working for those of you who are interested. But for now, what we have to understand is that the users, there's not a single entity or entity in the middle who is controlling or who has to bypass in between the users, whether it's payments, whether it's sharing data. And also, with this decentralized system, the data that we share does not pass through the same entity, the third entity. It belongs to the privacy of our data stays on our side, and it cannot belong, because it's a decentralized system, it cannot belong to someone else, the part that is shared with the rest. So there's a really improvement of security in this regard. As I said, you have some data that is belonging only to you. That's the private data. No one else can have access to this. And there's part of the data that is public, but no one can have, not one single person or single entity can have access to this data. So there's an increase in security. And up to the community aspect, because there's not the community, because there's not a single platform entity that is communicating between the users. There's an increase. The users themselves has a lot more decisions and how Web3 is, of how they're communicating with each other, how the users they're creating groups, and there's a bigger sense of community in Web3, because it's the users themselves who own Web3, we can say this. There's a lot more to Web3, and we will go into depth in all of this. For now, we have different examples of companies that are already in Web3: Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, MetaMask, a lot of NFT companies, World of Women. There's endless. I missed a picture here, but you get the idea. We move on to the next slide. So yeah, this is just an image to again show you how in Web3 there was someone in the center, a server in the center that was communicating between devices, that was communicating between users. And in Web3, it's really peer-to-peer. We're communicating with each other. There's not an in-between. So I thought this visual image could be a nice addition. And it's really showing the concepts of centralized versus decentralization. So we're at almost 15 minutes. So we have a few minutes for questions. There will be rewards for those of you who participate. So let's start with a quiz. I'm giving you examples of 5 different platforms, companies, and you have to tell me if they belong to Web2 or Web3 world. So the first one is Instagram, Bumble, OpenSea, Discord, and Netflix. To give us the answers, write them down, and you can send them through our social media on Discord or on the Zoom link if you are connected through Zoom. So we will look for your answers by Zoom, or by written answers, please. So I'll give a few seconds to think about that. Okay. The questions will stay there, so you have time to finish at the end. If you didn't finish, I will go on the second question. This is just, I don't want the full paragraph, just maybe a few words to say what is one of the elements of Web3 that is increasing users' digital security. I'm making these questions easy, first lesson here, so you all have a chance to answer something. And I have a little bonus question. For those of you who were paying attention or who have memory about dates, because not all of us can remember dates, but from the graph that I show you, can anyone remember what year officially the internet was born? I mentioned it. So we will try to check some of your answers, and we will announce who can. I will check if we already have. For now, no answers on Discord. We can check on Zoom. We're a bit almost on time, so we will see your answers coming, and if you put your answer, please leave us either your your Discord handle or an email address, and we will send you the reward for those of you who answer, because we're getting close to the end time. So we will look in the next couple of minutes for the answers. And for now, I want to just close up to say that this was just a touch up of what Web3 is in relationship to the whole history from internet. If you're interested in a more in-depth history lesson, please let me know. I can do one of those. But for now, we will go more in depth in Web3. So a sneak peek, next short lesson will be all about NFTs. And the next one can be a bit more technical. It will be more blockchain and how it's working for those of you who are interested how that's working. And time's up. So the last announcement that I have, our application for female founders are open today. So if you are someone who has a business, starting a project, or you are thinking about it, or know someone who's starting a project that has a good impact, that wants to have an impact, that has some technology, and we're really looking for good impact, please check out our applications. For now, that's it. I'm closing this lesson, and I will stay online with my team to check for your answers. So if you answered, please stay online, or we will contact you to send you the reward. Thank you.